Hello and welcome to The Awakening with Kelvin Phiri Podcast, part of the Bridges to Prosperity series. Today we deal with a story that is both shocking and heartbreaking. It is about the plight of persons with albinism in Zambia. These are our brothers and sisters, men, women and children who live every day with a shadow hanging over them, the fear of being hunted, abducted, or even killed simply because of the way they were born. Behind the numbers are real lives, people who deserve dignity, opportunity, and protection just like everyone else. Before I continue, let me give a quick disclaimer. This episode is based on information reported by the Chapter 1 Foundation, Disability Rights Watch, and other public sources. My goal is to raise awareness and spark dialogue. It is not legal advice, but a call for us to think differently, to reflect deeply, and to act urgently. Now, let us begin with a shocking truth. Chapter 1 Foundation points out that Zambia does not have a specific law that makes it a crime to be found in possession of human body parts. Hard to believe, isn't it? In many other countries, such possession would immediately raise criminal charges like murder, trafficking, or grave tampering. Here in Zambia, however, the law is silent on this specific issue. And that silence leaves persons with albinism dangerously exposed. Why? Because of myths and superstitions. In many communities, harmful beliefs claim that the body parts of persons with albinism can bring wealth, good luck, or even political power. It is these dark beliefs that fuel abductions, killings, and fear. Back in 2017, Disability Rights Watch estimated that there were over 25,000 persons with albinism in Zambia. That is the size of a small town. Imagine a whole town of people living every single day with the risk of being targeted. Despite this number, there has been no serious law created specifically to address their protection. Some disability inclusion policies exist, yes, but nothing that directly shields persons with albinism from these unique dangers. And the threat is not just imagined. Just last year, the Lusaka Magistrates Court handled a case involving a Mozambican woman with albinism who was allegedly trafficked and almost sold for 100 million kwacha. Think about that for a moment. A human life given a price tag. The judgment in that case has been set for the 17th of September 2025. These are not distant stories. They are happening here, in our country, in our time. Let me share another story, this one from Western Province. Chapter 1 Foundation reported on a man we will call Mr. X. He lent his phone to his brother-in-law, and when the phone was returned, he discovered a recording that had been accidentally captured. In that recording, his brother-in-law and two other men were plotting to abduct a person with albinism. They even discussed the time and the place. Now imagine the shock Mr. X must have felt. But he did what any responsible citizen should do. He took the evidence to the police, he reported the matter and played the recording for them. The suspects were arrested. At that moment, you might think the story had taken a positive turn, but instead of being protected as a whistleblower, Mr. X was betrayed. He begged the police to keep his identity hidden, especially since one of the suspects was his own relative. But the police ignored his request. He was put in full view of the suspects during identification. His anonymity was gone. The suspects were later released. And today, those same men threaten Mr. X. He lives in fear for his life, suffering psychological distress, not because he did wrong, but because he did right. Zambia does have a whistleblower protection law, the Public Interest Disclosure Act of 2010, but this case shows how protection can fail in practice when procedures are not followed. So what does this tell us? It tells us two things. First, there is a major gap in the law when it comes to protecting persons with albinism from crimes that target them specifically. Second, it shows us that even when citizens like Mr. X act bravely, our systems can betray them. The victim is left vulnerable and the whistleblower is left exposed. Both are failed by the very institutions meant to protect them. And this brings us to a bigger question. What does prosperity really mean? Often when we talk about prosperity, we picture infrastructure, roads, bridges, shopping malls, industries and mines. We talk about GDP figures, stock exchange rankings, and big investment projects. But prosperity is not complete if it excludes people. A nation cannot prosper when a part of its population lives in fear of being hunted like animals. Prosperity is not just about numbers, it is about dignity. It is about whether the most vulnerable among us can walk freely to school, attend church, get a job, and live without fear. There is also the issue of social trust. If citizens like Mr. X are exposed and left vulnerable, what do you think will happen the next time someone discovers a plot or a crime? They will keep quiet. They will decide it is safer not to get involved. And when people stop speaking out, crime and corruption thrive. This is how a society weakens, not in one sudden collapse, but little by little when fear silences good people. So what must change? Zambia urgently needs a law that specifically criminalizes the possession of human body parts. This would close the gap that currently exists. We also need stronger and more practical witness protection, laws that are not only written on paper but enforced on the ground. Persons with albinism must be given access to sunscreen, to healthcare, to education, and to fair employment. And as a nation, we must confront the harmful myths that endanger them. Education campaigns, community dialogues, and awareness are essential. Ignorance kills, but awareness can save lives. Friends, this is where prosperity meets morality. The story of persons with albinism is not only about them, it is about us. It is a test of who we are as a nation. Do we value life? Do we protect the vulnerable? Or do we allow myths and silence to rule? If Zambia is to build bridges to prosperity, then those bridges must be strong enough to carry every single one of us. Thank you for listening to the Awakening with Kelvin Phiri podcast. If this story has moved you, please share it with someone else. Let us use our voices to push for change. And if you have not already, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, Building Dreams in Africa, and to the podcast itself, so you don't miss future episodes under the Bridges to Prosperity series. Every subscription, every comment, and every share helps us build a community that believes in a better future for Zambia and for Africa. Until next time, stay awakened, stay hopeful, and God bless.